Craig Proctor, how you doing today? This actually works. It gets people's attention. Real estate coach Craig Proctor here. Today, we're going to be talking about how to win the listing, even against the very top agents. Ever frustrate you when you lose the listing to a loser? I shouldn't say that, right? That's kind of mean. But we've all had that happen before. We've all lost a listing to a real estate agent that we had no business losing the listing to. Let me know if that's ever happened to you before. And that would bother me immensely. I would like OCD over my listing presentation, which is going to benefit all of you here today. As many of you know, I was the top REMAX agent in the world for REMAX for commissions earned within 36 months of having my real estate license. But I started off making all the common mistakes that everybody makes because we look around at what everyone else is doing, figuring it's the thing to do. But I started to become really good at my listing presentation. And I've done over 10,000 listing presentations. So that's kind of why you should listen to what I have to say on this topic. So what I'm going to share with you today are the lessons that I learned, the things that I learned from just repeatedly going out every day on 4 or 5 listing appointments. And that's how you get good at this, right? If you've only got like 1 or 2 listing appointments a week, you don't really get into your zone. You need that repetition like anything else, whether you're playing golf or tennis or any sport. Repetition is what makes you good. Now, when I would lose, I would analyze what I did. And when I would win the listing, I would analyze what I did. And that's how I became really, really good. Testing and tweaking and testing and tweaking this listing presentation until I just couldn't make the thing any better, right? So it wouldn't be uncommon for me on the weekend to list 10 to 15 homes, like for real. There was just me back in the day. This is before I had a team, but I would come into the REMAX office on a Monday morning. I'd have like 10 listings or 15 listing agreements in my briefcase. I'm going to talk to you about the lessons that I've learned here today, how to set yourself apart from the other agents, even if you're not a top agent. Remember, when I started growing my team, I'm basically hiring rookie agents to go out and represent me because they're part of my team, right? And they're beating out the top agents in our city because I'm giving them the presentation. It's the killer, it'll slay your competition. That's what we're going to talk about here today. So, the question is, have you ever lost a listing to a loser? That's not supposed to happen, right? You're not supposed to lose a listing when you've got a better track record, you've got better marketing and advertising, you're a better agent, right? But every once in a while, it happens. I was like really studying, why does that happen? How do I correct these mistakes? Now, I'm not suggesting you're going to get 100% of them, but I got to the point where honestly, I got 8 out of 10. Now, keep in mind, 8 out of 10, 80% conversion. I'm not going out to meet with sellers if they're not motivated and their timing's out. I'm talking about these are sellers that they're going to list their home this week, either with me or another real estate agent. If I'm going out on those kind, I'm going to get 8 out of 10. So, questions I want you to ask. There's 2 parts to this, really. Number one thing you might be asking is, well, how do I get the listings? You can use some of this here to actually advertise and promote to get listing appointments. But today I'm going to focus on what to say during the listing presentation. Okay, the first obvious thing you want to ask, even on the phone before you go meet with them, is are they speaking with other real estate agents? Are they interviewing other real estate agents? That's good to know. Sometimes they'll even tell me who that is. May I ask who you're meeting with? Sometimes they won't. Like, that's none of your business. That's okay, but I want to know they're interviewing other agents, right? I want to ask that question. Now, the next obvious thing to do is what we call discovery. You want to find out what's important to them. If they're interviewing you and they're interviewing a couple of other agents, what criteria are they going to use to select an agent? Since you want to be that agent, you want to know, well, what's important to them? See, I didn't know that back in my early days. I just started talking about what I thought was important to the seller. So, for example, what if you were to go on and on about open houses and I do and at the end of the presentation, the seller says, I don't even like open houses. That would be kind of dumb, right? But I made those kind of mistakes. So it makes more sense to ask if they're interviewing. Okay, you are. So obviously you must have a selection process. May I ask, after you meet with the realtors, how you're going to select one? What's most important to you? Now, I'm going to to plant that right in my brain. Once they tell me what's most important to them, I'm going to focus on those things in my listing presentation. I'm sure you all do that, right? The next thing I'm going to get into is I'm going to get into the benefits portion of the presentation, right? The benefits. We're going to talk today about all the things that set me apart from all the other real estate agents, things that I do that nobody else does, or things that I can say that nobody else can say. Now, you may not be able to do all of this, but if you pick a couple of these ideas today, I promise you, it's really going to benefit you. This is real, by the way, folks. This is not like BS that I made up. I spent 30 years as one of the top real estate agents in North America actually doing this. I was the top RE/MAX agent for 20 years. I've created more millionaire agents than any other coach or trainer or guru. I can give you their names. You can call them. But if you see Craig Proctor stuff, you'll probably see some of the stuff I talk about. You go like, oh, there's a top agent in my marketplace. I see them doing exactly what Craig's talking about here today. So you're going to go through first the discovery. Like, this is where you're asking what's important to you. So you can embed that in your brain, and you're like, okay, well, these are the things, customer service or marketing or whatever they say is most important. You're going to be repeating that back to them during your benefit portion of your presentation. Now, after you get through all the benefits, which we're going to get to in a minute, what you're next going to say, after you're through your whole presentation, you've talked about all the benefits, you're going to do a bit of a test close. And you're going to say, based on, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, based on what we've discussed here today, would you like me to handle this for you? Okay, let me say it again. Based on what we've covered here today, would you like me to handle this for you? Handle the sale of your home. Now, sometimes they're going to say yes, which is great. But remember, I haven't even talked to them about the list price or my fee or how long of a listing I want. I haven't given them any of those specifics. Why do I do it that way? Well, too many times, we go through our benefit portion, and then we say to the seller, well, I think the list price should be this, and my fee, my commission is this, and I want a 6-month listing. And they say, no, I got to think about it, right? They don't sign up with you. Now you're left thinking, well, what did they oppose? What were they really saying no to? Was it my benefit portion? Like all the stuff I'm going to do for you? Or was it that they didn't like my suggested list price? Or they didn't like my commission rate? Or they didn't like that I wanted a 6-month listing? You don't know, right? All you know is the answer is no. And they'll say to you something like, oh, we'll think about it. That's their code for get the hell out of my house, right? And then you follow up with them the next day and you say, hey, I just wanted to follow up on the appointment. Wondered if you made decisions about the house yet. And they say, you know what? We just felt more comfortable with another realtor. What does that mean? It means they didn't feel comfortable with you. So another thing that we want to talk about here today is you could actually be the most qualified realtor, right? You might have the best track record, the best marketing, the best overall plan, the best presentation. But, and this is true, if the seller doesn't like you, they're not going to do business with you. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with that. Let me know in the comments. You could have an awesome presentation. You know what I'm talking about? Things are going well. You got a good vibe. Everyone's getting along. And then all of a sudden, like that, you feel like you've lost the listing. Nobody really said it, but you kind of know. You feel it, right? We have to understand that there are 4 major personality types. And you're one of them. Okay, you're one of the 4. Now, our natural tendency is to present to the seller the way that you would want to be presented to. The problem with that is 75% of the time, the person you're presenting to, if there's 4 personalities, 75% of the time, the person you're presenting to is not your personality. So although you're presenting to someone the way like you would want to be presented to, no. I had to learn, and you're going to have to learn, how to present to the seller based on their personality type. How to present to the seller the way they want to be presented to, not necessarily the way you want to be sold or presented to. Okay, now how do we do that? Well, first of all, I coach you up on this. Okay, we haven't even got to the good stuff yet. Remember, the title of our session here today is how to set yourself apart from other agents. I'm going to get to that in a minute, but this is kind of the preamble. This is important stuff that you need to know, because if you do all the things I'm about to show you, but you present this information in the wrong way and the seller doesn't connect with you, it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how many benefits you have. Let me know in the comments if this is making sense. Let me know right now, is this making sense? And by the way, if you like this, smash the like button. Okay, this is absolutely free training. I'm giving you guys 30 years of experience here. Smash the like, or maybe the little heart button. Give me a little heart there. But let me know in the comments if this is making sense to you, if this is absolutely true. How many of you are like me where you've kind of OCD, you're really bothered, annoyed when you don't get the listing? So typically I'd have listing appointments, like I'd have one at 7 o'clock, another one at 8 o'clock, another one at 9 o'clock. This is PM, right? And if I didn't get one of those, it would bother me. On the way home, I'm driving, I'm thinking about it. How many of you are like you, where you're actually replaying this in your brain? It's like, oh, what could I have changed? Oh, I forgot to say that. This is why we want to have a presentation system. It can't be wing it. You know, early in my career, I had a wing it presentation. Now, mind you, it was exciting because I never knew what the hell I was going to say, but it wasn't very effective, right? So you want to have this structured where basically, not robotically, but basically I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to do this. And basically that's how I rolled. I would do 5 or 6 listing presentations during the week and probably 8 or 10 on the weekends every single day. Okay, like I said, 10 or 15 on the weekend because I had this kind of down, this system. From when I walk into the house, how I introduce myself, walking through the home, getting to the kitchen table. It's important that you're sitting at a table, by the way, right? Don't let them walk you into a living room or a family room where you're sitting 20 feet away. No. You're the actor, and as the actor, you have to set the stage. So make sure they bring you into a kitchen table, usually, or a dining room table, where you can sit there, and sit them both, husband and wife, usually, that's who we're presenting to, sit them both to the side of you, left side or right side, whatever you feel more comfortable with. So when you're looking at one of them, you're actually looking at both of them. That solves the problem of, bobbing your head back and forth between a husband and wife, trying to give them equal attention, right? No matter how good a job you do, one of them feels like you're giving the other more attention. Is this making sense? If you love this, if you're finding this extremely helpful, let me know in the comments below. Again, smash the like button, okay? Smash the like button. Give me a little heart on this. Little heart. I love the feedback, by the way. Okay, now we're going to get into some of the benefits. Now, you can't be talking about the same things that every other agent's doing. Okay, you will suck if you do that, right? You can't be talking about, I was with Remax. So we have this balloon and we're nationally known and we have the #1 market share and we do all it. Don't talk about all the stuff that agents talk about. Stop talking about, my firm has been in business for 53 years. Nobody cares about that. The #1 thing the seller cares about is themselves. Everything you talk about needs to be about how you are going to benefit them, how you stand apart, how you set yourself apart from all the other real estate agents. Now, I want you to write this down. What we're talking about here is USP, okay? USP, unique selling proposition, okay? You're going to have a couple of them that you're going to use in your business. Today, I am going to outline three unique selling propositions. The first one is what we call a performance guarantee. What is a performance guarantee? I'm going to give you some examples how you can set yourself apart from all the other agents by guaranteeing your performance at some level. Why is this important? Because nobody else does that. Guaranteed is a very overused word. Your competitors will say, I guarantee great service, or I guarantee to sell your home faster, whatever. The problem is it has no teeth. A real guarantee looks like this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you list your home at the price I recommend, right? If we can agree on the list price, which is the conversation you have always, right? If we can list your home at a price, a mutually agreeable price, and I can't get you an offer within 30 days, I'll deduct $1,000 off my commission. Now, right away, that stops the commission cutting from the beginning. Give me an opportunity, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, to earn my commission, right? We think your house is worth $800,000. We all agree. If I can get you an offer for whatever it is, within 5% of $800,000 or over, then don't you agree I deserve my fee? Now, if that doesn't happen, I'll deduct $1,000 on closing. Now, remember, the house actually has to sell because there's no commission. You can't deduct from the commission if the home doesn't sell. You could guarantee 100% of your asking price, or I'll pay you X amount of dollars, $1,000 or $2,000. So these are just reductions off of the fee. Now, the key is you and I don't want to cut our commission, right? So let's convince the seller to list their home at a realistic price. Now, the seller wants the guarantee usually more than you want to give it. So you got a little bit of leverage, right? Let's say in this example, the guy wants $850,000, but his house is worth $800,000. I could say, well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'll list your home at $850,000, but unfortunately, $850,000, I can't give you the guarantee. Now, I have many stronger performance guarantees than that. As you know, I kind of invented and brought into the real estate market the guaranteed sales program. That's what made me famous. That's how I go from a nobody within 36 months to the number one RE/MAX agent in the world. In my town, just north of Toronto, all over town, you'd see your home sold or Craig Proctor will buy it. Your home sold in 120 days or I'll buy it. Move up to any one of my listings. Craig will buy your home for cash. All my listings with a price or trade. I had a very powerful guarantee that benefited sellers and buyers. I want to coach you up on this. Remember, everything that I did and the top agents all over North America that are my members are doing, it's already been done. You don't have to have a creative bone in your body. Everything you want to do in real estate's already being done by me and thousands of other Craig Proctor members. All you have to do is copy. So what performance guarantees could you come up with? How about one for buyers? Maybe in our buyer's market right now, something like this would make sense to you. You say to your buyer, okay, you could say this to your buyer. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, if you work with me, I'm going to email you the houses that you can find on the internet. I'm going to negotiate your best. That's what you're taught to say. It doesn't work very well. What if you said to the buyer this? If you said to the buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I can get you access to unlisted and off-market properties, and I also have a $5,000 buyer guarantee. How that works is any home that you purchase using my services, I guarantee to negotiate at least $5,000 off of the asking price, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash on closing. Now, in your marketplace, $5,000 might not be enough. Hey, these are just ideas, but I'm saying this is what the top members are doing all over the country. These are called performance guarantees. Okay, next, let's go to unique services. What unique services can you offer that other agents don't offer, right? What is it that you offer? You're going to stick a sign on the front lawn. You're going to broker load it onto MLS. You're going to call them. You're going to run ads. But what other unique services can you offer the seller? How about this one? This is trademark. This is the Craig Proctor. This is the Craig Proctor system. Okay. This is about you talking about the buyers that you're currently working with. Okay. So we teach you how to generate buyers, right? And then you're going to leverage off the buyers to get the listing, okay? We call this the Craig Proctor Buyers in Waiting Program. Here's how this would work. Let's pretend that you're the seller. I would show you, if I have a blank piece of paper here, let's see, like this. I'd hand you a blank piece, well, it wouldn't be blank. It would have the names of all the buyers that I have in my database that are looking for a home like yours. So I would say something like this. I'd say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, in preparation for our meeting here today, I have 117 buyers that are looking in your area, in the northeast part of town, in your price range. Now, should you decide to list your home with me, the very first thing that I would do is I would email detailed information and pictures of your house out to my 117 buyers. And sometimes we get a hit right away. Okay, sometimes we get multiple buyers that are interested. You know, it sounds kind of crazy. This is good. It sounds, you look at them right in the eyes, it sounds kind of crazy, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, but it's almost like I've been looking for a buyer, for your home before we even met today. Powerful, right? You want to position yourself as not just an agent that wants their listing. You want to position yourself as the agent that has the buyer. So let's do this again. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, in preparation for our meeting today, I ran a report in my database. I have 117 buyers that are currently looking in your area, in your price range. Should you decide to list your home with me, the very first thing that I would do is I would email information on your home, including pictures, out to the 117 buyers. And sometimes we get a hit right away. Sometimes we get multiple offers. It sounds kind of crazy, but it's almost like I've been looking for a buyer for your home before you and I even met today. Boom. And I hand them the buyers, right? I hand them the list of buyers, and it freaks them out, right? They're looking at this, and they're like, it has the name of my buyers because they're signed to a buyer contract, which one of my buyer agents is working with them, and that's kind of the showstopper. And then I might say this. Now, you mentioned, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you mentioned you're speaking to a couple of other realtors. Did the other two realtors you meet with, did they talk to you about how many buyers they're currently working with or how many buyers they have for your home? Crickets, right? No, Craig. The other agents we were speaking to, all they wanted to talk about is, should we list with them, what they would begin to do, what they would start to do to try to find a buyer for our home. Guys, this is gold. Okay, now it took me years to come up with this stuff, right? But I can teach you exactly how to position yourself. Now, how am I positioned in the seller's eyes? Craig Proctor is the guy with the buyers. The other agents, all they want to talk about is the marketing they would begin to do, the marketing they would start to do to try to find a buyer. Craig Proctor brought a printout of 117 buyers that he's currently working with. Now, in the beginning for you, it might not be 117 buyers. It might be 3 buyers. That's why you want to be in the Craig Proctor system, because I'll show you how to fill your database with 117 buyers so you can do this. Another unique service, so that was our buyers and waiting service. Another unique service, if the seller says they like open houses, we teach you to do something called a Sunday tour of homes. Now, you don't have to have any listings to do this, but the idea is this. Here's how I came up with this. So like everybody else, I'm doing open houses every Saturday and Sunday for 3 or 4 hours. And I quickly realized that the definition of an open house is somewhere where I go and nobody else does. So I got lots of time on my hands, right? So I'm thinking about, there's got to be a better way to do open houses. So here's what I came up with. We call it the Craig Proctor Sunday Tour of Homes. I have 6 houses open every Sunday. Each house is open for only 10 minutes. So the first house is open from 1 to 1:10. The next house is open from 1:20 to 1:35 and so on throughout the afternoon. Now, there's only me. I don't have a team back then. Now, why did I do that? Well, first of all, when I had 6 houses open, I got 6 times as many buyers coming out. And on purpose, I had each house open for only 10 minutes. Genius, right? Because now all the buyers were forced to come to each house at exactly the same time. Boom, I create the auction effect. I literally stand at the door, let them in, buyers are lined up. And at the end of the 10 minutes, here's what's cool. I got to kick them all out. Sorry, buyers, I got to go to the next house. If you're interested, I can bring you back later, in the same day for a second showing. Now, my sellers are present during this. They're blown away, right? The biggest complaint our sellers have, you're not showing it, you're advertising it working. I don't get that from my sellers. They're present during this 10 minutes. I'm not kicking them out of the house for 3 or 4 hours. They're present. Okay. After a couple weeks of me bringing through 15 or 20 people, if the house hasn't sold, what is it easy for Craig to get? A price reduction, right? I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we've had 40 buyers through your home. You saw it with your own eyes. Unfortunately, the buyers are not interested in your home at that price. Guys, do you like this? Does this make sense? Okay, hit the like button here. Give me your comments if you're finding this extremely helpful. This is what Craig Proctor coaching is about. In fact, if you're enjoying this, why don't you book a call with me? Why don't you book a diagnostic call with me and my right-hand person? If someone wants to type into the comments below, Proctor Call, all together, no space, Proctor Call, so my name, proctorcall.com. You can pick a day and a time, and we'll go through this with you. We'll help you implement what we're talking about here today. Now, you might be thinking, why the hell would I do that? If I help you, and like right now, you're finding this helpful. This cost me $0, by the way, to do this, right? But you're getting value. That's why you're still here watching this. If I really help you and I convince you that I could be helpful, you may want to be a client. That's why. So I'm just going to pay it forward. The easiest way for me to prove I can help you is just to pay it forward and actually help you and show you how some of this stuff can work. Now, the third type of USP, remember, we talked about performance guarantees, number one. We talked about unique services that you're going to offer, number two. The third thing that you're eventually going to be able to do is use your statistics. Because when you're involved with Craig Proctor Marketing, your listings are going to sell faster and they're going to sell for more money. And a higher percentage of the listings that you take on will actually sell and close. So, for example, I've got bar charts and stats that's like really impressive to the seller when you can say, sellers in our city last year that listed with me, they sold for 99% of the asking price, but the real estate board average was only 97%. So as you can see, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, home sellers that listed with me sold their home for 2% more than had they listed with the average realtor. Now on your $1 million home, 2% is $20,000. So there's 20,000 good reasons to list your home with Craig Proctor. Now, we can also do days on the market. Sellers that listed with Craig Proctor, on average, sold their home in 14 days. The real estate board average was 28 days. So when you list your home with Craig Proctor, it's going to sell in half the time. Or how about this? Sellers that listed with Craig Proctor, 86% of his listings, of Craig's listings, sold and closed. The real estate board average is only 56%. So we show you how to find stats. And in the beginning, you might have to use your broker stats, right? So in the beginning, I didn't have any stats. So I had to use the RE/MAX brokerage stats. But we try to work with you to find you opportunities so you can start to do this stuff, right? Imagine if you had... Were you able to set yourself apart in three different ways? You've got unique performance guarantees. You've got unique services that other agents don't offer. Your stats are better. Now, still, I'm going to repeat this again. If the sellers don't like you, if you don't present this in the right way to them, it doesn't matter that you're the best. It really doesn't. Again, how many of you, let me know in the comments, you knew you were the best agent for this and they didn't pick you? How many of you were shook? Right? It's like, I can't freaking believe they listed with that person. I'm a way better agent. I got a way better track record. I was fascinated by that. I wanted to find out why. So two things here. I got to make my presentation really strong, but I need to learn how to present the presentation, present the information to the seller in the right fashion, depending on their personality style. Okay, now, when you go through these benefits again, a little test close is I'm going to repeat this again. You're going to say to the seller, look him in the eyes, and you're going to say to the seller, hey, based on all the great stuff we talked about here today, would you like me to handle this for you? It's a fair question, right? Why are we so afraid to ask that? Now, if they kind of hem and haw, that tells my brain I got to go back and talk about more benefits. Right? I've stepped out there. I've asked, based on what we've talked about here, what we've discussed today, would you like me to handle this? Would you like me to take care of this for you? If I don't get a solid yes, then I got to go back and work more on the benefits and then go back to the test close again. Sometimes they'll say this. Remember, my question is, hey, based on what we've talked about here today, what I presented, do you want me to handle this? Sometimes they'll say, well, you haven't even told me the list price yet, which is true. Or you haven't even quoted me your fee or your commission, which is also true. Watch how I handle this. I understand, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, but assuming we can come to an agreement on what the list price should be, and we can come to an agreement on my fee, based on what we've discussed so far, would you like me to handle this? Do you see how I'm isolating? I'm isolating the list price and I'm isolating the fee, because that's not how they should be picking an agent, right? How many of you agree? The seller should not be selecting their agent based on who tells them the highest price and who quotes them the lowest commission. So if I can get a solid yes, right? Because they might say, well, hang on a second though, but you haven't told me the list price. You haven't told me your commission, right? Yeah, but assuming we can agree on that, based on all the benefits we've talked about, how I would market your home, okay, setting aside my fee and setting aside the list price, would you like me to handle this? Assuming we can agree on the fee and on the asking price, based on my approach, would you like me to handle it? I want to get a yes there. Now, here's why this is important. I didn't used to do that, right? I go all the way through the listing presentation, go through my benefits, I would, quote the list price. Here's what I think it should be listed at. Here's my fee. Here's the commission rate. And then at the end, they'd say no. Well, now I don't know what the hell they said no to. What did they not like? Did they not like my benefit portion? Did they not like my list price? Did they not like the commission rate? What? You can only handle an objection if you know what the objection is. You hear me on this? So this allows us to isolate the objection. So if I know the objection is the commission, we can handle that. If I know the commission is my recommended list price, we can handle that. But if I just go benefit, here's the list price, here's my commission rate, and at the end I get a solid no, I don't know what they're saying no to. Does this make sense? You finding this helpful, guys? By the way, let me know what city you're in. Okay, let me know what city or marketplace you're in. We get a ton of referrals here. Honestly, every day we have agents, members. Some are Craig Proctor members, some are not members. They're saying, hey, who do you have in Nashville, Tennessee? Who do you have in Montreal, Canada? All over North America. We don't take any of the money. We just set you guys up. Look, I want you guys to make money with Craig Proctor. I'm good. Okay, add up the commissions that I made, guys. I made between $4 and $5 million in commission for over 25 years. I'm good, right? Plus, think of all the money that I've made coaching and mentoring over 30,000 agents, right? So this is not about me. This is about me giving back to you. I want you just to know that. I want you to do the mental math, because you might be, oh, he's trying to sell me something, or I don't need anything from you. I am totally okay being of more value to you than you are to me. I want to help you. And I hope you see that I'm just laying it all out here. This is how we do it. But I've got so much more to offer you. Book a call with me. Why don't you do that? What would be the downside of booking a call with me? Oh, I don't know. Like, what are you afraid of? I'm going to try to sell you something? I'm not going to try to sell you anything. Okay? I want you to be excited and perhaps want to work with me. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I don't need your money, right? But the benefit that I could have on your business is massively huge. I want you to understand that, right? Like, if I can help you do one more transaction a month, what's that worth to your family? I'll tell you, in my life, it was a big game changer. I remember being scared. I remember being broke. And I think part of that really helped me. How many of you are like me where the fear of failure is kind of like, it's always there and it drives you? Look, I had failed at a lot of things before I got into real estate. I dropped out of college. I dropped out of university. Some of you might think, well, cry me a river, Craig, because within 3 years of having my license, I literally was the #1 RE/MAX agent in the world. Like, it's crazy, right? In 36 months. But that should be good news for you, because what that means is if Craig can do it, you can do it. If I can do this, you can do this. I had no sales training. I'd never sold anything in my life before I got into real estate. I had no marketing training. All of this is self-acquired. I learned it. Okay? I built my business from dirt. Okay? Nobody handed it to me. Same with my coaching business. I didn't get my coaching business from my dad. I built my coaching business. So you can build this, right? When you see me doing this and I introduce you to thousands of Craig Proctor members all over the country who are making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, do you realize I have members that are making over $1 million a month? A month. It's over $12 million in GCI. Now, I know they have teams. You might be like, oh, they have big teams. They give all their money away. Well, if they give half their money to their team and they're making $12 million, they're still making 6. Right? How many of you are good with that? You're good with 6 or 4 or 3, and you're not working with the buyers or sellers anymore. How many homes, honestly, could you sell if it had nothing to do with you? Boom. You get this? That's how I became rich selling real estate. In the beginning, it was just me working like an idiot 7 days a week. I didn't know any better. But then I figured out leverage. First, I figured out the marketing. Right? Now I've got all these listing appointments coming in. And then today what we're talking about is I figured out the listing presentation. I nailed it. Now I didn't start off nailing it. I started off very weak. I lost and I got better and I tested and I tweaked and I tested. And I tested this thing till I couldn't make it any better. Now you benefit from that. You don't have to spend 30 years figuring it out. Again, everything you want to do in real estate, I've done it. I can tell you how to do it. A lot of these guys, yap. They read it in a book. They heard about it. No. When you want to get the nitty gritty of how to do it all, I've done all this. 30 years in this business, over 10,000 homes sold. So we've talked today about how to set yourself apart from other agents using unique selling propositions, using special offers. I want to offer you a report on this, okay? What I've done, I've summarized some of what we talked about. And if you want this information, I put it together. It's like a 12-page report. If you type into the comments right now, free report, I'm going to give this to you. I hope you see the unselfishness in this, right? I've literally just spent over a half an hour with you guys for free, right? Sharing some of my best stuff. It's good stuff. I know it's good. I don't have to ask you if it's good. This is good. You know what? This is good stuff, right? Now I'm going to offer you a summary report because I want you to do this. Type into the comments below, free report. Okay. Now, to help you implement this, we have an implementation call. We call it a breakthrough call. There are no strings attached. It costs you nothing. Okay, you're not obligated to do anything. If someone could type again into the comments below, proctorcall.com. My name, proctorcall.com. What's the worst thing that could happen here? You waste 45 minutes of your time and you say, Craig sucks. But you know what? Why do we always think about the worst thing that would happen? Why don't we think about the best thing that could happen? What's the best thing that could happen? That this is real. The best thing that happens is we have a conversation that changes your business and your life. That's the best thing. Every relationship I've had with all these thousands of successful agents, you want to know how it all started? With a conversation. Started with a conversation where I genuinely care about your business and I ask you a bunch of questions about what you're doing and how it's working, right? What are your results? Why are you doing it that way? I give you some suggestions. Have you ever thought about doing it this way? Have you ever thought about doing it that way? We will have a conversation about where you are and where it is that you want to go. And for free, I'll give you my advice on how to do that. proctorcall.com. Now, some of you are going to be blown away by this. Some of look at how many of you have stayed on the entire, we've been on here for about 35 minutes. Okay. Many, the vast majority have been on the whole time because I'm the only guy in the trenches actually creating millionaires. Now you might be thinking right now, I couldn't make $1 million or I don't want to make $1 million a year, right? Yeah, that's the paradigm. You don't believe it's possible because of the way you're doing it right now. Many realtors, when I say make $1 million a year, they're like heart attack or divorce because doing it the way they're doing it now, it wouldn't be possible without great sacrifice. Guys, there's a formula for this, okay? proctorcall.com. Go there right now, get yourself registered, and we'll see you next time. Again, if you enjoyed this, let me know if you found this extremely helpful. Leave me some comments below. Remember, smash the like button, hit the little heart button, and we'll see you all next time. This is Real Estate Coach Craig Proctor. This is Craig Proctor. Hey, I really hope you enjoyed that video. And listen, I've got a lot more information for you to help you grow your real estate business. You see, several times a week, I record new videos and I load them onto this YouTube channel. What I'd like you to do, if you'd like to access them, are two important things, and both are totally free. Number one is I'd like you to subscribe to this channel. You're going to see a little subscribe button for you to click on. And if you don't already have an account with YouTube, it's free for you to set it up. It's really easy, it's free, but you've got to subscribe to this channel. And the most important thing is to ring the little bell right next to the subscribe button. And that's gonna let you know every time I load new money-making videos to help you grow your real estate business. So make sure you subscribe right now, you ring the little bell, and we'll see you on the next video.